it's interesting because the email that I sent out, there was an event after New Year's watch night service. And after service, you had an opportunity to go to a club, and it was the after party. And of course, I was going, party. And of course, I shared this event on my Facebook page to some of my friends, invited them out to it as well to support some of my friends' event that I was going to. Now, this particular club that I was going to, it is a Christian club. It's called the Upper Room. It's in Detroit, Michigan. It's a fabulous club. My good friends Pam Dover and her wonderful husband, they own the club. And I frequent this club a lot. Yes, I get my dance on, a party, and do all the other kind of good stuff. And you are right. I talked about this in my book, that how when I got saved, that God did clean me up. I left a lot of things. Single sex, cursing, clubbing, drinking, the whole 9 yards, left it all. Here's the thing. You asked, was this the same thing? This is probably one of my pet peeves in Christianity. It's because we believe that if we're having some level of fun, if we're having some level of pleasure, it's sin. And I am having a problem with this because it's probably one of the reasons why many people are caught up in sin, is because they don't have fun as a Christian. We have so many of the rules, don't do, don't do, don't do. And whenever it is that we have any level of fun, it appears that we are sinning. I, like you, don't want to go back to clubbing, don't want to go back to drinking. And I will say to you, I will acknowledge that what takes place at this Christian club, of course, you don't have any alcohol. Yes, we celebrate, we dance, we hustle, we're doing all kind of stuff. There's comedy nights. And no, not every club night there is not an altar call. Doesn't mean that God is not in it. Just because somebody's not falling out and having the Holy Ghost does not mean that God is in it. And so the problem is that we've got to, as Christians, find a measure or levels of pleasure or having fun without coming out of the boundaries or walking into sin. And just because we are dancing, just because we are clubbing, something that mirrors or something that the world is doing doesn't necessarily mean that we are sinning because we have a club, as if the world created clubbing. I'm reminded about David. When David had this, I love what the New King James Version says in 2 Samuel 6. He says that he was having an undignified praise party going on in the middle of the street. I mean, how dare you, David, in the middle of the street? How dare you go and worship and dance? I mean, and to the point where you ripping off clothes and celebrating. And I love the Message translation. It says as if he was out there, as if he was a strip dancer or something. And so oftentimes what was a harness to you, what was a sin for you, it may be difficult for you to go to a club. It may be difficult for you to go into an atmosphere, and it may pull you back into a level of where it feels as if you're sinning again. For many of us, that's not the case. Though Paul says in the book of Corinthians, he says that, I wouldn't eat a piece of meat around somebody who's giving up idol worship with bulls and cows and chickens. I wouldn't put out, some KFC or a Big Mac for somebody who's fasting. But here's the thing. You've got to understand that what may be was a struggle for you may not have been a struggle for me. And just as people were witnessing David dancing in the middle of the street, sometimes it mirrors or bring back a memory of your own sins, and it may be difficult for you to go back into a club. You may not, even if it's a Christian club, and there may not be any sinning going on. But if that is an atmosphere that produces sin for you, then by all means, stay away from it. But as for me in my house, we shall party. We're going to dance like David did. We're going to do something radical and fun. And we're not going to hell because we listen to hip-hop music. I guess Coco Brother all the way in Atlanta will love that. For me, I've been around the world, and sometimes our culture limits us. If you go into a Caribbean island, you'll see them swaying and dancing, and it may look like something a strip dancer may do. You may go into Africa, and they're doing stomps and dancing, and then, doing all these chantings and everything, and some of us may be like, ooh, that is not of God. And sometimes we limit ourselves as our own cultures or sometimes limit ourselves of our own past and some things that we were caught up in and what we are in bondage to. But I'm going to say this to you. If that is a sin for you, do not go to a club. Do not listen to hip-hop music if it pulls you further away from God. But for many of us, we're liberated, and that's how we celebrate. That's how we worship. That's how we show, just as David said, because he brought me out, I'm going to dance, and I'm going to do an undignified one. And if you thought that was bad, as he said in the Message translation, it's going to even get more radical. So as for me and my house, we're going to praise, and we're going to party, and we're going to dance. Till next time, I'll see you in the club. Let's dance, y'all.